is sketching the perfect design tool? Well, maybe you're one of those people who can't draw. Saying to yourself, you know what, I can't draw, so you know what, I should do it. We see the same with singing and dancing. People think you can either do it or you can't. We would never say this, or we should never do this with language. No one would say, I cannot express myself as a poet, so I should not speak. I would think it's more about a belief rather than talent and ability. So time to open your mind and see the value of sketching as a part of your creative growing process. Before you start to sketch, you'll have to ask yourself, why sketching? Well, one, what is the reason and what can I expect from the result? And two, who is the receiver? Because the way and decisions you'll take as a sketcher should be in sync with the desired outcome. In this clip, I will focus myself only and only on sketching as a tool to be more creative. Meaning, the reason for sketching is to become better in your creative process, and you are the receiver, doing it for yourself as a monologue. And by the way, sketching can be a therapy to communicate with yourself and process mental blocks, ideas, and so on. So I will not talk about the other great advantages sketching is giving us, as for example, communicating our ideas visually with our staff or clients and so on. Neither I will not learn you how to sketch, but I'll share the why you should sketch. Let's continue with the mindset you sketch for yourself in order to come up with better ideas and upscale your creativity. The first thing you should know, it's not about the performance, but the journey and process which leads you to the outcome. Sketching is a dialogue with yourself in your creative process. It gives you a visual and tangible perception of what comes up in your mind. Sketching is not new. We do it already for ages and already from early age in all different ways. By the way, remember your first sketch in kindergarten? Well, I do actually. Drawing is a tool of thought. Sketching is personal in this process. It's not for somebody else. So you don't have to act as an artist or to be judged nor analyzed. It's not about the performance. Our sketches do not have to be a piece of art. If they will help us to think and connect the dots in our mind, that are good enough. The imperfectness of our idea, of your ideas, and sketching it brings out the perfectness of it. We sketch as we think in pictures. We want to visualize what ideas and thought goes around in our head, right? As we belong to a visual métier, we should be able to think visually, and sketching is a great tool to boost this. Sketching is communicating with yourself. Putting or materialize your ideas on paper and make it visible in order to contemplate, but for all, to start a process. Sketching supports your visual thinking. Actually, it's a back and forward feedback between your imagination, your idea, and that piece of paper, ready to be implemented in the real world. When sketching, do not get lost in detailing, as you will lose the intention of putting your idea on paper. You should keep a laser focus to spit out that idea of you. When sketching myself, I feel on a certain moment the sketch is taking it over, and I surf on the sketch to continue in combination of new ideas, inspiration to enter as I'm driven by the sketch. And at the end, it's an interaction. It's an interaction between the sketch and myself. You should see sketching as breathing. You take in information, ideas, feelings, knowledge, and you combine it to new ideas, putting out on a sheet of paper. The great thing of sketching is It's very easy to create and destroy, and this way to come up with visuals floating in our heads. Focus on our visual sense, meaning let go unneeded elements and focus on what you sketch. Leave that perception of I can't do it, or it will not be beautiful, or it will look silly. That only prevents yourself to freely sketch as a child. Start to sketch what you find beautiful, as your mind will be more open to see beauty and its details. Beauty is everywhere, but we as visual artists have to recognize it. And thanks to our foundation class and the coaching program, you are getting an insight of the language of design, analyzing how to design, with an intention to design a beautiful and harmonic outcome. Give your mind a way, give your mind a structure to think through in order the elements and principles of design. True talent people can skip this part, but will be recognized by it. This is a skill that can be learned. When we draw, we develop an eye for beauty as we start to analyze what we are drawing. The beauty of this way of thinking is what you sketch is becoming a part of you, meaning you become one with your idea and you visualize it by contemplation. You sharpen your visual mind as you start to work with it. Meeting your visual remember mind is actually growing. We tend to draw what we already know and not what we see. This holds on from creating new ideas. Where does negative and positive space comes in place? Well, your sketch is not only about the object, but what negative space it reflects as well. Switch your mind to both categories to come up with an even better outcome. We make the world beautiful by paying attention. If we sketch, we kind of speak through lines. We become shapes, well, actually the words. We build compositions of lines and shapes that mean something. If we want to sketch something, just break it down into different shapes, forms and lines. It will help you a lot to define what's happening in the picture. A beautiful element on sketching is that it helps to develop your own signature style as you sketch how you think about something. Sketching becomes personal. We all think differently, and that makes us so beautifully unique. For example, if I say sketch the word flower, I will get thousands different sketches. Hence, it will be all a flower. This also means that the imagination and creativity of sketching has far more creative potential than written language. Well, though poetry can level up greatly as well. That is the reason we teach 4 different views according to Jung, and that will be through the mind, sensation, feeling and intuition. But that's for later, that's for the advanced class in Bruges. If I sketch ideas from different angles. The angle is part of the concept. It is the same as we spoke from colors, but now it is reflecting on myself. Asking myself 2 questions when sketching. What my intention of sketching it in this angle, and what will be the reception of seeing it through this angle. Another amazing fact of sketching is to challenge your visual way of thinking. If you can't sketch it, maybe you don't understand it yet. So sketching helps us to understand. Imagination is that magical world we all want to have, or we all want to be. Being creative, coming up with something totally new. Imagination is not what you think, but how you think. Imagination is a very strong tool we have as an artist. We can imagine things, meaning no limits. All is possible. We go from the real to the surreal world. Well, think about Dali with his elephants with the tiny bird legs. A way to do is to combine known elements together from the real world, but as well combining known from the unknown elements, the feelings, emotions, and ideas. For example, a hollow Christmas tree made of only snowflakes, a combo of a winter scene and a traditional Christmas tree. So this is very useful in your creative process to sketch those two together. My tools I use when starting a sketch are a pencil, a thin black, a thick black, and a floral marker. And I start to draw freely some rough lines with a pencil, making the contours, shapes and forms, and when satisfied, I highlight the shapes to see the concept. And the next step is I add some minor details to make it more visible, more alive. And the last step is to color the surface by a floral marker, and that's where the flowers comes in. I always use paper as I can freely move my hand along the surface. Sketching is finding a way from your creative mind to your hand. It's up to you to explore this amazing gift and joy, but as well the extra dimension, as well to bring your creativity to the world. All it takes is one simple pen. I recommend you never to use a device or computer sketching programs as it limits the freedom to sketch, but also your adaptation to the tool. The tool comes between your hand and your creative mind. You start to think from the abilities of the tool instead of your own. And well, do not get me wrong, I applaud and use sketching software, AutoCAD as well, but that will be in a later phase to visualize my ideas more in detail and to share with my different parties, clients, and so on. Sketching gives you the tool to interact between your creative mind and visualize it. See it as a kind of a vehicle between the un and the known world, which is actually one of my definitions when it comes to creativity. I never start with a white paper and waiting for an idea to come. It always starts with a creative seed in my head, as small as it can be, knowing it has the potential to grow and to lead to something amazing. A creative mind is situated between our perception and our understanding, a combo of knowing and knowledge. Sketching is an ideal way to bring this to life. Sketching is being able to bring your world of opinions, ideas, perceptions to reality by visualizing them for yourself and at a later stadium to others. In the advanced class, we will see the importance of iconography, which will help you to get better insight in the creative process of an artist, of an artwork. But keep in mind, when sketching, we may not judge ourselves in this part of the process creatively nor performance-wise. This is an open mindset versus closed mindset, or performance versus learning mindset. And I refer you to the blog Growth Mindset. So my conclusion, you can sketch. It's not about the outcome, the performance, but it's all about the creative process leading you to the realization of an idea. It is also a process of picking up a pencil and give yourself the permission to let go all fears and insecurities, and to start sketching will bring you to a higher level by experiencing a bigger creative freedom. Believe me, it will open your eyes to see not only what is, but what can be. So pick up a pencil and see where it takes you. An exercise to challenge you, well, we tend to draw what we already know and not what we see. Well, try to sketch what pops up in your mind or what you feel when asking to sketch the modes of perception, meaning the five senses as vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Sketch like four as how you see them. Even if nothing's popping up in your mind, just scribble something and repeat this every day. You'll create a habit and will force your brain to come up with a sketch.